In a restaurant, a French millionaire's tears were found in a cleaner's unexpected act of kindness. The diner buzzed with life, the warm glow of neon lights flickering against the waves of laughter and chatter. Fresh apple pie wafted through the air, its sweet aroma blending seamlessly with the coffee brewing in the back. Amidst this cozy chaos, Rita, a 35-year-old cleaner with a gentle smile that crinkled the corners of her eyes, tirelessly wiped down tables, her heart full of hope despite the grind of life that wore on her spirit. Juggling 2 little ones at home was no small feat, but she carried that weight like a badge of honor. One fateful evening, the door swung open with a dramatic creak, revealing Julien, a well-dressed French millionaire with a polished suit that screamed success. But beneath that tailored exterior, sadness clouded his deep-set eyes. He stepped inside, a world of difference wrapped in silk, while the diner overflowed with the familiar faces of teachers, truck drivers, and families sharing a meal. What was he doing in a place like this, searching for simplicity amid the smoke of tangled expectations? He sank into a booth, voicing his frustrations, his voice barely rising above the din, a loneliness echoing louder than the clanging dishes surrounding him. Rita, on her usual rounds, couldn't help but overhear his lament. Her heart tugged as she caught his despair. The contrast was striking, a woman fighting for her dreams and a man lost within his success. In a bold move, she approached the booth. "Looks like you could use a friend," she said softly, her voice a comforting tone against his raw confession. As he recounted his struggles, failure despite his riches, and the heavy burden of loneliness, Rita shared her own trials, the late nights cleaning after closing hours, punctuated by dreams for a better future for her children. Their stories unfolded, illuminating a divide between riches and resilience. As they spoke, the diner faded away, creating an intimate space just for them. Julien's shoulders relaxed as he heard of Rita's endless dedication, and she found strength in his vulnerabilities. They discovered common ground, both felt the pressure, albeit in different ways. Just when hope ignited their connection, the diner faced a sudden crisis. Patrons dwindled, and the cash register fell silent. Rita, a force of nature, rallied her friends and family, sharing the urgency on social media, even sacrificing a portion of her paycheck to keep the doors open. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The diner hummed with new energy as Rita's determination shone bright. Julien watched in awe, every passing moment deepening his admiration for her relentless spirit. There was a strength in her heart that no amount of money could buy. Just as the weight of despair threatened to pull her under, he joined her cause, not with his wealth but with his passion for entrepreneurship. He brainstormed ways to attract new customers, using his skills to engage the community in ways that felt enlightening, fostering connections that both he and Rita desperately needed. As laughter and chatter filled the diner once more, Julien's eyes glimmered with unshed tears, not just for his failures but for an unbreakable bond he had formed with Rita. In that bustling diner, amongst the sounds of clinking forks and joyful conversations, the true essence of life emerged: dreams, hopes, and the undeniable power of community. The last slice of apple pie was served with respect and warmth, leaving a bittersweet taste of what they had overcome. But still, one question hung in the air: could they bridge the divide between their worlds, or would the weight of their realities pull them apart once more? The next few weeks saw a remarkable transformation in the diner. Rita and Julien's partnership ignited a spark that spread throughout the small community. Word got around that the cozy diner was more than a place to grab a meal, it had become a hub of hope. The local paper even featured a story on it, capturing the essence of their unexpected alliance. With each passing day, people began to trickle in from all corners of the town, curious to witness the magic. Rita worked tirelessly, rallying old friends and new customers alike. She offered free samples of apple pie to anyone who brought a friend along and hosted trivia nights that filled the diner with laughter and friendly competition. The once quiet establishment was alive with energy, and Julian contributed with ideas that brought a touch of flair. He helped organize pop-up art exhibits featuring local artists, drawing in crowds eager to see and support their community. Together, they created a special menu item Unity Pie, a mix of flavors that represented both of their worlds, sweet apples from Rita's recipe and a touch of French flair with a hint of lavender. It was a hit. As people savored each bite, they engaged in conversations both deep and light, forming connections over shared stories and laughter. The diner had become a tapestry of lives woven together, each customer adding their thread, but amid this rise, shadows loomed. Rita was still juggling her demanding job while raising 2 children alone. The weight of her responsibilities at home sometimes tugged at her spirit, making her feel vulnerable. One evening, after a bustling day at the diner, she found herself in the back with her head in her hands. Julian, who had noticed her struggle, approached her quietly. "Rita, what is it?" he asked gently. I'm trying so hard, Julian. It feels like everything is going well here, but when I go home, it's a different story. I barely see my kids. I worry about making ends meet. I don't know how long I can keep this up, she confessed, her voice cracking with unease. Julian knelt beside her, his heart aching at her words. "You're doing incredible work. But it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to carry this alone." Her eyes glistened with a mix of pride and worry. "I don't want to burden you. You're my friend, but..." "Exactly. Friends support each other. Let me help you, even if it's just watching your kids once a week so you can breathe," he offered sincerely. Rita hesitated, doubt creeping in. "Will it be enough?" "I believe it will. We started with small steps, and look at where we've taken the diner. Imagine what could happen if we look out for each other in our personal lives too," he assured her, the warmth of his words wrapped around her like a comforting embrace. The idea of accepting help felt foreign, yet there was a flicker of hope in his suggestion. As they stared at each other, an unspoken agreement passed between them. Their connection had deepened. They were no longer just 2 individuals battling their own dramas, they were partners in every sense, ready to forge ahead into uncertainty together. But just as their bond solidified, an unexpected phone call shattered the moment. Julian's expression shifted, his brows furrowing with worry. "I need to take this," he said, stepping away. Rita watched as he spoke, a sense of unease creeping in. She couldn't help but wonder what news awaited him. Would it change everything they had built together? What if the walls they were slowly constructing began to crumble? In that fleeting moment of uncertainty, the air in the diner felt heavier, and Rita realized they were on the brink of something beyond their understanding. The question lingered in her mind, could their newfound bond withstand the challenges approaching on the horizon? Rita busied herself with cleaning the counter, her mind racing with questions as she stole glances at Julian. He stood near the register, his voice low but urgent as he talked on the phone. The light chatter and laughter that once filled the diner felt distant and muffled. She wiped her hands with a dish towel, her stomach taut with unease. The door chimed, pulling her attention away. A familiar face, Mrs. Henderson, a sweet elderly woman from the neighborhood, shuffled in, clutching a small, vibrant bouquet of daisies. Her presence was usually a source of joy, but today, it felt like an intrusion on Rita's spiraling thoughts. "Hello, dear." Mrs. Henderson smiled, her voice warm, even as her eyes sparkled with concern. "I thought these might brighten your day." Rita forced a smile, grateful but still distracted. "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. They're beautiful." She accepted the flowers, inhaling their fresh scent. "Is everything all right, sweetheart?" "You look a bit frazzled," the woman replied, her gaze soft and understanding. Rita hesitated. How could she explain the weight she carried? Not wanting to paint a dreary picture, she offered a half-hearted chuckle. "Oh, just juggling a lot. The diner keeps me busy, you know." Mrs. Henderson stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on Rita's arm. "It's okay to ask for help, you know. You don't have to do it all alone." Life has a way of stacking the odds against us. Her words struck a chord, resonating deep within Rita. She glanced at Julian again, still talking on the phone, his features drawn tight in concentration. If only it were easy to take Mrs. Henderson's advice. The thought of involving others felt burdensome, yet the weight was becoming unbearable. Seconds passed, feeling like hours. Julian finally hung up, his face pale. Rita's heart skipped a beat as he walked toward her with a determined look. "Rita," he began, but the expression on his face stopped her cold. "I got some troubling news about my grandmother. She's not well. I need to head to France." The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. Rita felt as if the ground shifted beneath her. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Visions of their dreams for the diner fractured in her mind. "We've built something special here." Julian's voice trembled slightly, but he pressed on, lifting her chin with his fingers. "But family comes first. I need to go, to be with her." The realization sank in. This was a moment that could unravel everything they had worked so hard to create together. Tears prickled at the corners of Rita's eyes, but she forced a smile. "Of course, you have to go. Family, it's important." As Julian's eyes searched hers, understanding passed between them. It was a bittersweet farewell. "Promise me you'll take care of yourself and the diner," he said, gripping her hand tightly before releasing it. Rita nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. "And promise to come back to us, to me," she added, her voice slightly breaking. "I promise," he vowed, sincerity etched in every line of his face. Then, with one last lingering look, he turned and headed for the door, his departure folding the diner back into silence. Rita took a deep breath, the flowers still in her grip, the vibrant daisies a stark contrast to the uncertainty swirling around her. The diner felt different now. The chatter of the customers felt distant, the laughter faded. A part of her felt quite literally empty. Just then, Mrs. Henderson placed her hand on Rita's back, offering comfort. "You're not alone, dear. You have all of us. We'll help you carry this." And as the reality of Julian's absence settled in, a new wave of determination surged through her. She would not let the diner dim. It had become a lifeline for the community and for herself. But as she turned to face the customers now, a lingering thought crossed her mind: could she truly hold them all together against the storm ahead? Her heart beat faster, the challenge felt monumental. And just like that, Rita knew she had to face whatever was coming, even if she felt utterly unprepared. Little did she know how soon the dining community would come together in ways she had never anticipated. Would a stranger step up when she needed it the most? The days ahead promised trials, yet hope still flickered in the corners of her heart, waiting to take root. Rita stood there, the vibrant daisies in her hands like a lifeline, their bright yellow petals a stark contrast to the gray cloud hovering over her heart. The diner felt emptier without Julian, and the laughter of the regulars turned into shifting discussions of their own lives, almost painfully oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. "Are we still on for lunch, Rita?" a chirpy voice asked, breaking her reverie. It was Sarah, a waitress who worked a few shifts a week. Rita had always admired her cheerful nature, but today, it felt like salt on her wound. "Yeah, of course," Rita replied, forcing a smile. "Let us take a break." As they moved towards the back room, Rita's mind raced. She had to keep the diner running. It was not just a job, it was a part of her, a piece of her life she built alongside Julian. It felt like their dreams were fracturing, but she also remembered Mrs. Henderson's words: "She wasn't alone that I in the break room." They shared sandwiches, Sarah chatting about her own upcoming trip, while Rita nodded along, her thoughts drifting. She pictured Julian boarding a plane, swamped with worry for his grandmother, while she was left to carry the weight. Would he feel her absence just as deeply? A part of her wished he could feel the weight on her shoulders. Her inadequacies would surely make him turn around. "Rita, you're awfully quiet today. You okay?" Sarah asked, pausing to study her. Yeah, just, a lot on my mind. Rita glanced at her phone, no new texts from Julian. It tightened her chest, this void of communication. Finally, she voiced the nagging question. What would you do if everything you worked for felt like it could unravel in an instant? Sarah paused, chewing thoughtfully. Honestly, I'd lean on the people around me. Don't wait till it's too late. Let them in. Rita blinked, startled by the clarity of Sarah's words. Could she truly lean on the community they had together? Would they rally like Mrs. Henderson promised? Deep down, Rita knew she couldn't face this alone. She thought of the regulars. There was Mr. Thompson, always ready for a joke, and the sisters who came every Wednesday, gossiping about everything from the weather to local politics. Perhaps it was time to open up and share the burden. As they wrapped up lunch, Rita felt a spark of renewed energy. Sarah, can you help me with something this afternoon? Anything. She beamed. Let us gather everyone together, maybe make an announcement. I want to share what is going on and maybe ask for help. With a newfound sense of purpose, Rita returned to the diner floor. It didn't matter how daunting the task seemed, the thought of unity brought warmth to her heart, like the sweet smell of coffee filling the air. She cleared her throat, capturing the attention of the customers. Everyone, can I have your attention for just a moment? The chatter quieted down. They watched her closely, curiosity evident on their faces. I have some news, and a favor to ask, she began, her heart hammering. As some of you know, Julian had to leave for France because his grandmother isn't well. This diner means a lot to both of us, and I'll need your support to keep it thriving while he's away. The murmurs rippled through the crowd, a mix of concern and understanding. Of course, we're here for you. Mr. Thompson shouted from the back, instantly breaking the tension and bringing a chuckle from several others. Rita felt her heart swell. Thank you, truly. I want this diner to keep being a place where we can all come together, a home away from home. A wave of affirming nods spread around the room. Their faces reflected warmth, solidarity, and something she had almost forgotten, hope. As the conversation flowed naturally, the bond between the community began to solidify right before her eyes. A renewed spirit filled the diner, and for the first time since Julian's departure, a warmth started to replace the emptiness inside her. Yet, as she caught glimpses of doubt creeping in, another thought silently brewed. Would they understand the full weight of her fear? Would the help they offered truly be enough to sustain everything she held dearly? In that moment, Rita knew the real challenge was yet to come, and while she felt a flicker of hope, she couldn't shake the worry gnawing at her mind. Rita's heart raced as she wrapped up her announcement, the diner buzzing with newfound energy. Conversations erupted, laughter mingled with support, and for the first time in days, she felt a flicker of stability. It was as if the worries that had wrapped around her like a heavy blanket were lifting, just a bit. Hey, Rita. What can we do? One of the sisters chimed in, their enthusiasm infectious. We're all in this together, right? Rita smiled, catching Sarah's eye, who nodded encouragingly. This was the moment she needed to seize. Well, I could use some extra hands on the weekend shifts. And, if anyone has ideas for special events to bring in more customers, I'm all ears. The chatter transformed into brainstorming, with everyone pitching in recommendations. Mr. Thompson suggested a trivia night, while another regular proposed a bake sale. Ideas flowed like the coffee Rita was pouring, rich with flavor and warmth. Rita couldn't help but feel her spirits rise. Each suggestion was a stepping stone, like petals of daisies spilling forward, illuminating the path ahead. They were no longer mere customers, they were allies, a family united in purpose. Yet, beneath that warmth, her worry simmered just below the surface. As the afternoon wore on, the diner thrummed with activity. Rita worked diligently, her hands moving quickly while her mind remained alert. Yet, a glance at the door had her heart sinking. No sign of Julian, though she told herself it was for the best. A part of her ached for his presence. Would he see all this when he returned? Would he recognize the strength she was slowly embracing? In the middle of this hustle, Mrs. Henderson walked in, her face lighting up the room. "I heard about the meeting, dear." Everyone buzzing with excitement. "You're doing splendidly." "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson," Rita replied, her voice thick with gratitude. "It feels good to see everyone come together like this." Mrs. Henderson placed a gentle hand on Rita's shoulder. "Community is everything, child. You've built something beautiful here. Just remember, it's okay to lean on us from time to time." As the evening approached, the diner remained lively, but fatigue started to creep in. Rita grabbed a moment when the rush calmed, stepping outside for some fresh air. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the street. It felt like a sign, a fleeting moment of clarity in her chaotic thoughts. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Her heart leaped as she saw Julian's name flash on the screen. She took a deep breath, her fingers shaking as she opened the message. "Hey, I just landed. I miss you. How's the diner?" Emotion welled up inside her, a mix of relief and longing. She quickly typed back, pouring out her heart about the plans forming, the community stepping up. She wanted him to know she was holding it together, even if it felt fragile. Just as she hit send, a familiar figure approached. From the corner of her eye, she caught sight of Sarah, holding a boxed dessert. "Look what I brought. Thought we could celebrate today's win," she said with a grin. Rita chuckled, feeling a lightness. "You're a lifesaver." "What is it?" "Chocolate cake. It's a little treat for all the hard work." They positioned themselves near the window, sharing slices while laughter spilled over the countertop. But just as joy filled the room, a quiet moment shifted the atmosphere when a couple entered, deep in conversation. The woman looked troubled, her eyes glossed with unshed tears. Rita's heart twisted. She felt compelled to approach. "Can I get you something?" she asked gently. The woman looked up, her face a mix of surprise and vulnerability. "Sorry, it's just been a long day." As Rita listened, she sensed a connection forming, a shared thread of struggle amid their differences. "Sometimes, kindness found in unexpected places can lift us," Mrs. Henderson had said. And it struck Rita, maybe that was the key, understanding that everyone carried their own silent battles. Her heart pounded as inspiration struck. What if they could create a special night, an open forum where people could share their stories over food, where laughter mingled with empathy? But could this idea find a place in the diner? As Rita searched for the right words, she saw something shimmer by the door, beyond the beautiful sunset. Would it be enough to truly make a difference, to pull everyone together in a way they all needed? A soft breeze danced through the diner, somehow whispering possibilities, while the urge to create this space for connection felt stronger than ever. What if this was the beginning of something larger? Rita's mind buzzed as inspiration took root. She glanced back at the couple, now seated at a table in the corner. The woman had wiped her eyes and shared a half-hearted smile with her partner. It was a reminder that everyone's story mattered, not just her own. "Hey, Sarah." Rita called, her decision firming with each passing second. "I have an idea." Sarah turned, excitement glimmering in her eyes. "What's cooking, Rita? What if we host a special night here, a chance for the community to share their stories? We could call it Sharing Over Slices or something catchy like that. It could be a space to listen, to understand, and of course, there'd be food." A thoughtful look crossed Sarah's face. "Wow, that's beautiful. You mean like a sort of open mic night but with heart?" "Exactly. A night where people can talk about their struggles or triumphs while enjoying some of that cake you brought." The idea felt alive in Rita's chest. "We could even have a donation box for local charities or causes that touch on the issues discussed. It would be a way to turn stories into action, help others in the community." The words spilled out so fast that it took Sarah a moment to catch up. "Rita, I love this. It could bring in new folks, too. You know, more customers and connections." "Not just customers," Rita corrected, her voice picking up steam. "We could build a family here. People sharing experiences, realizing they're not alone. Just like what we did today. It felt good, right? The diner hummed around them, the thought igniting a fire in Rita's heart. Just then, Mrs. Henderson ambled by with a steaming cup of coffee, her knowing gaze landing on Rita. "What's this about, dear?" "We're planning a story night. A space for everyone to share, to connect," Rita explained, unable to hide the enthusiasm bubbling in her voice. Mrs. Henderson smiled, her eyes twinkling. "A lovely idea. I think it will remind everyone how much kindness can change a person's day or even their life." Inspired, they began brainstorming, jotting down ideas on napkins for engaging activities. Rita felt more energized than she had in weeks. Every idea was a burst of hope, illuminating a path through her worries. As the crowd in the diner ebbed and flowed throughout the night, Rita caught glimpses of familiar faces, friends, neighbors, all coming together over plates and cups. They were stepping beyond the surface pleasantries, diving into deeper conversations, and opening their hearts. She could feel the atmosphere change from simply a place to eat into a gathering point for connection. Then, at the tail end of the night, her phone buzzed again. Another message from Julian. It made her heart flutter and squeeze at the same time. "I can't wait to hear about your plans. I'm heading to the diner tomorrow morning. Is everything all right?" Rita took a deep breath, her fingers flying across the screen. She wanted to tell him everything: the excitement, the community, and how she was beginning to reclaim strength she thought was lost. Just as she finished typing, the door swung open with a gust of cool night air. In walked a new face, a man clearly unfamiliar with the place, his appearance disheveled yet dignified. He scanned the room, almost desperate for connection. The warmth of laughter surrounded him, but he stood alone, a deep worry reflected in his eyes. Rita's heartbeat quickened. Was this man another person searching for kindness? "Welcome. Can I get you something?" she said softly, her voice carrying across the busy diner. The man hesitated, searching her eyes and perhaps seeing the very same flicker of openness she had seen in others tonight. Was he ready to share his story? This moment held an undeniable weight, another thread weaving into the tapestry of connection she was hoping to create. But as he opened his mouth, what would come out? Rita's heart raced with anticipation. Would this encounter unravel a hidden truth of its own? The man's gaze held a mixture of fear and hope as he finally spoke. A coffee, please," he said softly, his voice barely rising above the clatter of dishes. Rita nodded, instantly moving to pour a steaming cup. As she placed it in front of him, she caught his eyes again. They looked tired, like they held too many burdens. "Are you new in town?" she ventured, leaning against the counter with an encouraging smile. He looked around, taking in the warmth of the diner, its cozy booths and friendly buzz. "Just passing through," he replied, his fingers drumming nervously on the table. "Figured I'd stop for a bite." She felt an urge to know more, to draw him into the community she was trying to cultivate. "We're actually planning an event here soon, a chance for anyone to share their stories. You should stop by. It could be, well, enlightening." She hoped her invitation wouldn't overwhelm him. His brow furrowed, and a shadow seemed to pass over his face. "I'm not really the sharing type," he said, almost retreating into himself. "That's okay," she reassured him, sensing there was more than he was ready to reveal. "Not everyone has to share right away. Just being here, listening could be the first step." He took a sip of his coffee, contemplating her offer as his eyes darted to the corners of the room. From this close, she could see the strain around his smile. It struggled to break free. "I just..." He paused, fingers wrapping tightly around his cup. "Nobody really listens to you anymore, you know. Sometimes it feels like we're just echoes in a crowded room." Rita's heart ached for him. "I get that. It can feel isolating even in a full diner. But that's the beauty of sharing. You realize you're not alone. We all have stories that connect us." He studied her, a flicker of something curiosity crossing his face. "What is your story then?" he asked, and for a moment, it felt like the air in the diner thickened with expectancy. She chuckled lightly, pondering her own journey. Well, I'm just a girl trying to find her way back home, through food, really. Like everyone else, I've had my ups and downs. She paused, gauging the man's reaction before adding, but I believe what matters is how we rise from those moments. As he leaned in closer, a glimmer of vulnerability flashed in his eyes. You make it sound so simple. Maybe it is, she replied gently. But it takes courage. More than you realize. A waitress bustled by, and for a moment, the man looked lost again, enveloped by a world far too big for his current state. Yet, there was something stirring beneath the surface, a desire to break free, to reveal what lay hidden. If you decide to join us for the storytelling night, Rita continued, you might find that sharing isn't so scary. You might even help someone else. The man sighed, the tension visibly easing as he took another sip of his coffee. Maybe I should. Just then, the door swung open again and in walked Julian, his familiar smile lighting up the diner. But before he could make his way to Rita, he paused, noticing the new man. Transfixed, his smile faltered for a heartbeat, uncertainty crossing his features. Is everything all right here? Julian asked, his brows slightly furrowed as he scanned the table. Rita swallowed hard. She had imagined Julian here at this moment, but never like this, caught between her past and the possibility of a present that embraced new beginnings. She felt the weight of the man's gaze and the shift in the air, an unexpected intensity blooming. What would Julian say next? As all eyes turned toward him, would he see the same ghost of loneliness reflected in that man's expression? Or would he break the tension with his infamous charm? Rita held her breath, waiting for the answer that could change everything. Julian took a hesitant step forward, his smile slipping as he studied the contours of their table. The quiet atmosphere in the diner crackled with an unspoken challenge, thickening the air. Rita felt her pulse quicken, as if she were on the brink of something momentous. Hey, Rita, he said, forcing an easy tone that didn't quite hide the uncertainty in his eyes. Who is your friend? He gestured toward the man, still clutching his coffee like a lifeline. Before she could respond, the stranger spoke up, his voice somewhat steadier. Just a traveler stopping for coffee. He offered a faint smile, the kind that barely touched his tired eyes. Julian's brow creased with curiosity and concern. You okay? His gaze softened, and for a moment, the distance between them seemed to dissolve into genuine interest. The man shifted in his seat, his vulnerability exposed. Struggling a bit, he admitted, and Rita admired his courage to voice that truth. I'm not sure how to break through the noise. Rita's heart swelled. Here was this man, yearning to connect. She sensed that underneath his hesitance lay a story waiting to be heard. Julian leaned in, attentive, creating a bridge in their shared humanity. You're not alone in that, he said, his voice warm but firm. Sometimes it takes just one moment of honesty to change everything. I should know. His gaze flickered to Rita, hinting at shared memories that still lingered between them. What do you mean? The man asked, genuine curiosity lighting up his tired features. Julian drew in a breath, hesitating as if weighing the importance of his own story against the need to listen. There was a time when I felt like that too. Lost. But a moment of conversation really turned things around for me. Rita watched as Julian's expression softened. It was a reminder that everyone carried burdens, and sometimes the smallest act of sharing could lighten those loads. I had a mentor once, he continued. A simple interaction changed my path. I learned that vulnerability is strength. It can connect you with people you never thought possible. The man's interest peaked, something inside him shifted. What did you say? His fingers relaxed on the coffee cup, his tension slowly uncoiling as he leaned forward. Julian paused, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the diner held its breath. I told him how lost I was and he listened. Really listened. That moment made me realize people do care, even when it feels like they don't. A silence enveloped them, thick with emotion. Rita felt an electric charge in the room, the weight of personal stories hanging just beneath the surface. The man seemed to be wrestling with his own fears, while hope still flickered in his eyes. "I guess I've been caught up in my mind," he admitted, glancing between them. There was a certain relief in his admission, as if the act of confessing his struggle had peeled back layers of loneliness. Julian smiled gently. "We all have moments we feel lost in thought, but sharing helps. It's how we build connections, like the ones we have here." Just then, the diner door swung open again, and in walked an elderly woman, her face creased with lines of wisdom and experience. She stopped short at the entrance, seemingly lost in her thoughts. As her gaze swept the room, it rested on the trio at the table. "No need to be shy, dear," Rita called out, beckoning her over. "We're having a heart-to-heart here." The woman's eyes lit up at the invitation, and she made her way over. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said, her voice lilting with a gentle warmth. "Oh, not at all," Julian exclaimed, welcoming her with open arms. "But you've arrived at an opportune time. We were just discussing how sharing stories can connect us." As the woman settled in, Rita felt the atmosphere shift again. Just when she thought the moment couldn't deepen further, it did. Their small gathering was becoming something more, a shared space of vulnerability and connection. "Let me tell you a secret," the woman said, her voice rich with history. "Sometimes the greatest strength lies in what we hide away. Life has a way of bringing us together, if we're willing to listen." Rita glanced at the others, their eyes reflecting a mutual understanding, but something hung in the air. The man's unanswered story. What had he been hiding? Would he take the leap and join the circle, sharing his truth? The question lingered between them, a delicate thread woven into the rich tapestry of their moment together. All that remained was for him to reach out and grasp it. Would he? The man's fingers hesitated over his coffee cup, and a wash of uncertainty flickered across his face. The warmth in the room seemed to shrink around him, yet a fire of hope flickered in Julian's steady gaze. "Come on," Julian encouraged, his voice low and inviting. "You don't have to carry it all alone." Rita leaned in, sensing the shift in the man's demeanor. "Just tell us what you feel comfortable sharing. We're here to listen. You've taken the hardest step already by being honest with yourself." The stranger inhaled deeply, as if preparing to plunge into icy waters. "My name's Henry," he finally said, his voice trembling slightly. "I thought I could just drift through life, you know. But it's been hard." Julian nodded, allowing the man space to gather himself. "I lost my job a few months ago," Henry continued, his eyes growing glassy. "I had been at the same company for years. I thought I belonged there, that my work meant something. But maybe I wasn't enough." "Everyone feels that way at some point," the elderly woman interjected softly. "It's easy to tie our worth to what we do or how others see us. But you are so much more than your job." Henry blinked rapidly, battling emotions that threatened to spill over. "I've been in a spiral since then. My self-esteem is shot. I feel like I'm just existing, no direction, no purpose. Each morning, I wake up, and it's like I'm feeling the same dull ache, the same fear. What if I never find my way back?" Rita's heart ached for him. There was a raw honesty in Henry's words, a truth she recognized in herself. She glanced at Julian, his look promised understanding and empathy. Julian leaned slightly closer. "The path back sometimes starts with a seed of belief. You said you were traveling. Maybe this is more than just a stop for coffee. It might be your moment, the one you decide to take control again." "But what if I fail?" Henry's voice wavered, his defiance mixing with doubt. Julian smiled gently. "Failure just means we're trying. It's a step, not a final destination." The elderly woman nodded in agreement. "Oh yes. Every fall teaches us something. I've had my fair share of failures, and oddly enough, they became the stepping stones. Each mistake brought about lessons, and those lessons led to unexpected joys." Tears brimmed in Henry's eyes, reflecting gratitude and pain. I want to belong somewhere again. But I don't know how. The room hummed with a shared sense of vulnerability. This small table in a diner had turned into a sanctuary for broken pieces. Rita felt a tug in her heart. You have a group right here. You're not alone anymore, she said, squeezing his hand gently in encouragement. Henry's expression softened, and for the first time, he seemed to breathe a little easier. Thank you. I didn't expect this, to connect like this. Just then, the diner door swung open again. A young girl stumbled in, her eyes wide with wonder, a spark of energy that swept into the room. She spotted their gathering and grinned, oblivious to the depth of the conversation just shared. Is this the story corner? She burst out with excitement, her hands on her hips, like a mini superhero ready to take on the world. Rita exchanged amused glances with Julian and the woman. Yes, it is, Julian chuckled, shaking off the moment's tension with laughter. And you're just in time. But as the conversation shifted, Rita couldn't shake the feeling of unfinished stories and connections yet to be made. Would this young girl have her own tale of trouble and triumph? And perhaps it was time for Henry to explore those threads of connection more deeply. What else might unfold in this shared space of honesty and hope? Would they find strength in one another and discover paths they never considered? Rita watched as the young girl with bright, sparkling eyes bounced over to their table. Her spirit was a stark contrast to the heaviness that had settled moments before. Can I share a story? The girl asked, radiating an infectious energy. Of course. Rita beamed, eager to hear what this bundle of enthusiasm had to say. My name's Lucy, she declared proudly, standing tall as she cleared her throat like a seasoned performer. One time, I lost my favorite book, and I thought I'd never find it again. Her vivid gaze swept across the dim lighting of the diner as everyone leant in, captivated. But I didn't give up. I searched everywhere. I asked my family. I even looked under the couch. Laughter erupted around her as she animatedly described her quest, full of playful gestures and a voice that danced with excitement. Rita's heart swelled. And did you find it? Yes. I did. And I learned that sometimes things get lost, but if you look hard enough and ask for help, you can find them again. Lucy brought her hands together as if sealing the lesson in place. A wave of warmth washed over the group as Henry leaned back, a genuine smile breaking through his earlier apprehensions. That's a great lesson, Lucy, he said softly, gazing at her with newfound admiration. Sometimes adults forget that we can't always do it alone. Julian's eyes sparkled with recognition, and he nodded along. That's exactly it. We all need help finding our way back, just like you found your book. The elderly woman chimed in, it's a brave thing to keep searching, dear. We adults often forget that simple yet important truth. There was a moment of silence, where the hum of conversations around them faded into the background, and just like that, Lucy's story had stitched the edges of their hearts together a little tighter. What else can you all share? Lucy beamed. I want to hear something brave. Like something you did that scared you. The unexpectedness of her question had the others laughing again, the tension thawing with each remark, each emotional layer peeking out. One by one, they began recounting tales of worry and triumph. Julia shared how she had faced her fear of public speaking. Henry opened up about a time he stood up for a friend when it felt like no one else would. Each story shared became a thread, weaving a stronger fabric among all of them. Rita felt the air shift, the love encapsulated in the stories binding them closer. And then it hit her. This was why she had wanted to host the story night in the diner. Each person, their battle to find a place, a voice, and a sense of belonging, revealed how intertwining their experiences could change lives. As her thoughts swirled, she felt an unexpected warmth flutter in her chest. Her phone buzzed again, another message from Julian, I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to hear about tonight. I'm here with you, always. With overwhelming emotions surging within her, Rita looked at her friends new and old. We've just started something beautiful here tonight. Sharing isn't just about our burdens, it's about chasing hope together. This diner isn't just a diner, it's a safe space, a community, a home. Let us keep this going. Who's with me? An uproar of cheers erupted, vibrant and impassioned. Rita beamed at the joy glimmering within their eyes. It mirrored her own. Henry's smile widened, now gleaming with unshaken determination. Let us have a monthly story night. I can help with that. Me too. Lucy jumped up, her voice ringing clear. I want to share brave stories every time. Yes, absolutely. The elderly woman echoed. We should involve the neighborhood. Let us host open nights as a way for the community to connect. As enthusiasm circled the room, Rita felt each heartbeat synchronizing into a stronger rhythm. The chatter transformed into a collective wave, ideas flowing like the warm coffee, binding them all in ways she had been yearning for. In that joyous moment, they weren't just individuals standing apart, but a community unified through shared struggles, resilience, laughter, and connection. As thoughts of a distant storm faded, she realized the universe was weaving together magic from the threads of their stories, reminding them they wouldn't face the struggles alone. When she looked at Julian, arriving at the door with eyes wide in surprise, she knew new beginnings awaited them both. The diner stood alive with hope, their hope as it danced around them, and she felt, maybe for the first time, that they would be okay. Together. Let us keep this a space of healing and friendship. Rita declared, unable to hold back her joy. Together, we can light the way. And as laughter echoed throughout the diner, a new chapter began to unfold within the tapestry of their lives, woven with sincerity, joy, and resilient love, the beautiful beginning of a lasting legacy. Now is the time for you to embrace our story and support our journey. Don't miss out. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you never miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your love for our community. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. Your support matters.